Hey, welcome back. Now, for most of us, stress is a fact of life. Unfortunately, research reveals that it's also a fact of fat. Even if you usually eat well, exercise, chronic high stress can prevent you from losing weight or even add pounds. So here's what happens. Your body responds to all stress in exactly the same way. So every time you have a stressful day, your brain instructs your cells to release potent hormones. Now the problem is your body still thinks that the stress you're experiencing is a life-threatening one, like trying to get away from a predator. So you get a burst of adrenaline, which taps into your stored energy, so you can either fight or run away. At the same time, you get a surge of something called cortisol, which tells your body to replenish energy, even though you haven't used very many calories. And that's because most of the time, the stress we experience or put ourselves through nowadays isn't the same as our evolutionary ancestors. It's stuff like deadlines, meetings, presentations, all the normal 21st century stuff. Nevertheless, this cortisol surge all the time makes you hungry, very hungry. And your body keeps on pumping out that cortisol as long as the stress continues. But few of us reach for the carrots in these situations. Instead, we crave sweet, salty, and high-fat foods because they stimulate the brain to release the pleasure chemicals that reduce the tension. This soothing effect becomes addictive, so every time you're anxious, you want the foods that just slam that weight on. Now, with your adrenaline glands pumping out cortisol, production of the muscle-building hormone testosterone slows down. Over time, this drop causes a decrease in your muscle mass. So then, you end up burning fewer calories over time. This occurs naturally as you age, but high cortisol levels accelerate that process. Cortisol also encourages your body to store fat, especially visceral fat on the tummy, which is particularly dangerous because it surrounds vital organs and releases fatty acids into your blood, raising cholesterol and insulin levels and paving the way for heart disease and diabetes. So let me summarize so far. Number one, our bodies still respond to stress in the same way it did back when we were running away or reacting to actual danger. Number two, we experience or put ourselves through far more stress nowadays than our natural stress response was designed for. Number three, elevated stress all the time due to relationships, past events in our lives, work deadlines, work presentations, work targets, lack of sleep, traffic and kids, whatever, has a 5-fold negative effect on your ability to drop weight. Firstly, elevated cortisol that you're experiencing all the time is saying replace calories. This means you're always hungry. Secondly, you make poor food choices to replenish those calories. Thirdly, cortisol is a fat storing hormone. Fourthly, while cortisol levels are high, testosterone, and yes, women do have testosterone, will drop, meaning you'll lose muscle mass and therefore your metabolism will slow down. Fifth, when cortisol levels are high, our body does not respond well to leptin, the hormone that makes us feel full. So we end up eating more. The adrenal glands are where cortisol is produced, specifically the adrenal cortex. Where you're constantly stressed, you have what is called adrenal imbalance or adrenal fatigue, which causes a number of issues, including an expanded waistline. Normally, when we begin to feel hungry, our blood sugar drops and our brain sends a message to the adrenal glands to release cortisol. Cortisol activates glucose, fats and amino acids to keep your body fueled and your energy up until we eat. Cortisol maintains blood sugar levels and insulin helps our cells absorb glucose. When we have long-term stress, both insulin and cortisol remain elevated in the blood, and the extra glucose is stored as fat, mostly in the abdomen. So what do most people do when they experience a plateau in their weight loss? Well, they either begin to do more exercise sessions, longer sessions, or both, and probably further restrict their food. And guess what? All this does is make the situation worse. Why? Because it's more stress on the body, which elevates the cortisol even further. This is an ongoing cycle for many people out there, and it's one thing that I have to deal with when people come to me to help them overcome their plateaus, or when they feel they've tried everything. Their trainer thinks they're a lost cause because they're constantly making the sessions tougher and tougher, and always looking through their food diary week after week and scratching their head. I've had women and men come to me that are doing most things correctly and still not managing to drop the weight. Well, until we correct this adrenal imbalance, then it just isn't going to happen, I'm afraid. So it's my aim over the next few videos to give you some solutions to overcoming this constant stress in your life and get you on the road to recovery and getting your body that you want. So are you with me? Will you commit to giving each step your maximum effort, no matter what your beliefs are right now? Good, so I hope you enjoyed part 1 in this series of TBT Daily. If you did, then please share this with someone you know that's struggling or could do with knowing this inside knowledge. Hit me up anytime. There's normally links around these videos in the text and descriptions, and I'm really looking forward to helping you achieve happiness in your life. I'll see you really soon.